Welcome back to the House of Legends, where great women become exceptional. I am your host, Graciela, and in today's episode, if you've seen this via YouTube, you can immediately tell that I'm with a goddess. Ugh, I mean, if you can just see her, like she's glowing, she's really, really beautiful. She's beautiful inside out. I will say that. She's also a beautiful manifestor as well as me. We're sharing that beautiful energy. And if you know about human design, you know what we're talking about. So manifestors in the house, this conversation is going to be really, really epic. Fasana, she's an amazing woman, like I said. One of the things that really caught my attention for when I was seeing your life work, Fasana, is that you are bringing really this conversation of not only becoming who we are meant to become, but bring um stepping into this fully expressed version of ourselves that is not only abundant, but she's also you bring in the love, in the harmony, and uh, you teaching us about the laws, and that is really, really amazing. But you teaching that from a place that we can understand and we can relate. You also are beautiful. One of the things that I was seeing is that you now release your own book, Purpose Before Partnership. And I was really intrigued about the title, and we're gonna dive in as well here. With that being said, if you can introduce yourself, Asana, let us know who you are and what led you to where you are right now.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, my sister, thank you so much for having me here. It's such a pleasure having this quantum conversation with you. If you're watching this, please know you have two manifester powerhouse women who are the CEOs of their lives, speaking life into your world right now. Please understand that you are about to be activated. I'm going to start there because you can't be around a women, I should say, like us, because there are two of us now, right? There are so many more. But you cannot be around women like ourselves and stay the same. You
Oh,
can't stay stagnant. It just won't happen. Something within you, whether it's in your subconscious, whether you learn something consciously, will shift. And you know what? We're here for it. That's what we do. That's what we live for. We are transformational catalysts. We are mindset coaches. We are healers. I'm saying we, as in, this is our introduction, because really and truly, who I am is a woman who's been on a journey of really learning how to self-heal, how
mm,
to release so much of the self-hate and the self-abandonment and the self-judgment that I felt so frequently in this life up until about, let's say, 10 years ago, when I recognized that the path to freedom for me was going to be found in business. It was going to be found in really cracking the code of becoming this entrepreneur, this spirit-led entrepreneur, this spiritual, holistic, quantum entrepreneur. Because how I got to this place is I realized I'm different. I'm
mm,
I'm I'm not like everybody else. I'm different. I see things in a different way. I see the world in a very different viewpoint than most people. My interests are different.
yeah.
I was sharing with you prior to us hopping on, in high school, while my friends were dating and going out clubbing, everybody had fake IDs, and everybody was just living their best life according to them. And I remember being in my teenage years on Friday nights with my computer in bed, researching about universal laws and understanding God, because I never understood what it seemed like so many other people did. And so I've just been owning my uniqueness, my own light, my brilliance. And it's been a very lonely journey. We'll get into that. There's been so many challenges based on the world around me not being ready for me, is what it felt like. You
Mm,
know, at the end of the day, I've just always had this very, very strong connection to my higher self guidance, my intuition, and I've just followed that. And apparently, it's been working. So
working. Thank you
yeah.
for doing that, Fasana. I would love to, if you can share a little bit deeper right there, because you were sharing something that is just like we see it all the time, most of the time, I would say. Like when we were teenagers, most of the people want to just go to the club or experiencing new things. And for you, you mentioned like I was in my room, like researching about the laws and God, and
Yeah.
We would love to know. And I know as a manifestors, we are really independent. We are really like, and I'm not just putting ourselves on the pedestal. We're all special, right? But we are really independent. We don't wait for someone to tell us what to do or things like that. But I would love to know who introduced you to those laws, who introduced you to the self-development. Where were the first uh, person or with where you hear that in the first time?
That's such a good question.
Yeah.
No one introduced me to them. It was something that
Oh my goodness, even more.
I learned about it. I must have learned about it online. I must have learned about it within the practice of asking the universe questions. There's so much power in understanding that when you ask the universe a question,
Mm,
you're always going to get the answer.
mm,
Every single time you're going to get the answer. And the questions I was asking was,
yeah.
what is God? Who is God?
Mm,
Why doesn't God favor me? Has he forgotten about me? Did I
mm,
do something wrong? Am I living the wrong way? What
mm,
can I do better? You know, I
mm,
always felt like such a pure person with a good heart. I was raised by an incredible single mother who is the most loving, kind, generous, compassionate woman that
mm.
I've ever known.
Oh,
And she passed on so many of those beautiful traits to me. I modeled so much of that watching her as I grew. She's an angel on this earth. I promise you. She's just she's been my role model in so many different ways. And as I studied her, I
yeah.
would always ask myself also, why is it that mom works so hard and she's such a good person, but she's still not where she wants to be in her life? I started observing
Yeah.
that she was disconnected from her soul and that
Mm,
she just did whatever it took. She would hustle and she would grind to put food on the table for her two beautiful babies. No assistance, no help from my father. You know, they had very different soul paths in this life.
okay.
And I just was so desperate. I was so eager and persistent to figure it out. Because if there's one thing about women like us, we're going to figure it out. One
Wanted.
way, we're going to figure it out. And when we do, watch out, world.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love the fact that you mentioned about the questions, asking questions, and this is even more impressive when coming from a teenager or a child because we don't learn that at school. Like I didn't learn to ask myself questions. I didn't learn to ask God or universe the questions, and that was really really impressive. And one of the beautiful things that you also mentioned is like that the way that you describe your mom is all you see her in that way because everything is in you and that is just so beautiful like connecting seeing that in others because it's just a reflection of who you are and I would love to for you after we were talking before we press recording here and you were sharing about some of the things that stop you I will say well, I'm not gonna put the word stop you, but that led you or that slow you down in certain times in your journey. And
Mm.
love for you if you can just share with us and how do you snap out of how you move through those situations. Where were those thoughts? Yes.
That's a good question. Which part, sis, are you talking about? Are you talking about the part where I was overweight? I didn't believe in myself. I was mad at God, the lack and scarcity, all of it. You want me to just go into all of it? Just
And
dive in?
all of it, yes, because I didn't know about that. I mean, you look like goddess. I mean, I'm just saying that. It's just like impressive to to witness this and thank you so much for sharing this because many of women are going to relate like we see other women and we think like she born like that it's like that right no challenges no nothing right
Right, exactly. And you know what? The that's one of the issues in society is that, I mean, for me, and I'm sure I can speak for you as well, when you see a
yeah
beautiful human, doesn't it come up in your head? Such a beautiful story. I wonder what this person go through and grow through to get to this place in their life, to get to this place on their journey. That's what goes through my mind, because you can only see people as deeply as you see yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm always thinking from this very, very open, heart-centered, compassionate place, this very objective place. I wonder what their story includes and entails. And I love that you highlight this on this podcast, because no one ever believes me when I tell them that I was overweight for most of my life. I hated my body. I
Mm,
hated the way I looked. I hated myself because I would work out twice a day. I remember in my teens taking pills, getting waist trainers, drinking potions, doing everything right according to what it is that I was led to believe was the right way for me. Nothing worked. And I
mm,
remember being 21 years old. I was in my first relationship. Um, Shout out to that beautiful soul who I was partnered with at the time, because he's actually the human that was the catalyst for me. It's a gentleman that I had actually known from high school, and intuitively always had so much respect for him. I didn't know that years later we would actually romantically, intimately get together, and he would introduce me to this concept of self-love.
mm,
And something I want to touch on quickly
yeah.
is the fact that I remember being in this divine trifecta with my single mom and my baby sister. She's only 2 years younger than me. But
Okay.
those two women, those two girls, those two humans were my entire world. They were my life. And because I'm the eldest daughter, I really, really stepped into my masculine energy very, very, very quickly. I hear a helicopter. That's very interesting. That never happens. Okay. I stepped into my masculine energy really, really early on in my life. I
Okay.
became a protector and I became a warrior because I had to make sure that my girls were safe.
Mm,
They were friends. They were my best friends. They were, that was my tribe. And so getting into that relationship at 20, well, it was a few years before 21, but really learning about self-love. My partner at the time, he taught me that, you know what? You can't always be worried about them when you're not with them. I had severe codependency and attachment issues, anxious attachment issues, being away from my mom and my sister. And I didn't even know it. I had no idea that I was like this until it was brought to my attention. And
yeah.
so around the age of 21, I remember my sister and I treated my mom. We took her on this 5-day Caribbean cruise for her birthday. And at dinner every night, my sister and I, we were on the chubbier side, growing up.
Okay.
Um, we both we both had some pretty deep, daddy issues, abandonment issues, self-worth issues based on our childhood and just the events that had occurred. And we both really, really love to eat. I mean, who's not a foodie in today's day and age, right? I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
love food. Like I still am a foodie. I food, right? And
That's
so I remember being on yeah, love language.
beautiful.
So I remember being on this cruise with my family, and every night we had this tradition. We would order two desserts because it's a buffet. You can order whatever you want. We would
Yeah.
order two desserts, and amongst the three of us, we would share. So we could have a little bit of both, right? A couple bites. No problem. There was one night when, in hindsight, I would tell you I was going through a tower moment. I was going through a dark night of the soul. And I remember the waiter coming to the table and asking us what we wanted for dinner. And I had made a decision right before where I was just so frustrated. And he said, what would you ladies like for dessert? And I think it was my sister and my mom, they ordered the two desserts. And then I said, oh, also, I'd like one of this, this, and this. And I ordered 3 desserts for myself.
Okay.
And they looked at me and they were like, are you okay? I had made the decision that God probably just wants me to be a fat girl in this life. I'm just
Mm,
supposed to be, I'm just supposed to be a bigger person. I'm supposed to be over, and I'm gonna love myself. I'm gonna figure it out. My partner had no issue with my weight. He loved me. I could tell he loved my soul. He
mm,
loved my soul. My beauty, according to what he saw, was like a bonus on top, but I didn't love me. And in
mm,
that moment, of making that decision to order 3 extra desserts,
Wow. Yeah.
which, by the way, caused me in the next few months, based on that one decision, I gained 60 pounds.
Wow.
I gained 60 pounds. I was typically 165, 70 pounds. I
Mm,
gained 60 pounds. And so I remember just having this internal this is why self-talk is so important. In my coaching practice, I've termed this higher self-coaching, because when you start to tap in to those higher frequencies and to that higher consciousness, and you understand yourself as a spiritual being, the way that I know I have, and so many of us are starting to really understand that the relevance towards, you can talk yourself out of making bad decisions that are misaligned with your true purpose in life, right? And so that
wow.
one decision, my family didn't know what was going on. I was so depressed. I was so upset. I just wanted to be beautiful. I just wanted to love myself.
Mm,
And that just didn't ever seem like it was going to happen. And I got very frustrated. I got very fed up. And then those 3 desserts came and I just ate them. And food gave me a sense of comfort. And
mm,
it helped me fill a void that I didn't realize was attached to low self-worth, low self-confidence, low self-esteem, low self-love, low,
mm,
low self of belief in myself. And of course, being disconnected from the divinity that is within me, which divinity is within all of us.
mm. Oh my gosh, that's so, so deep. But I would love to know, and thank you so much for sharing, because it's not something like it's just mind blowing even to think that, right? But after that, those months occur,
Mm,
what was what was the thing? Because you said from an idea or from a decision,
yeah.
my life took another different direction, I will say. What was the
Yes.
thing that allowed you to to move from where you were for
Mhm.
after gaining those 60 pounds?
My partner and I broke up. Partner
Okay.
and I broke up. I had so much energy inside of me, the rage, the furiousness, the disappointment, the hurt, the betrayal, the sadness, the abandonment energy that had come up for me after we broke up. Because remember, it was my first relationship. I wasn't one to date. It's just, if I don't have a very deep soul connection with somebody, I
It's like,
don't, I can't do the casual thing. It just doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't work for me. So I'm like, okay, just leave that there. We broke up, and thankfully I found a way to really channel my energy and all of the stuff that I was holding on to, because depression had always been something that was very, very, very evident in my past as well. I still have my dark moments. I'm a very emotional person. I'm very deeply connected to my emotional body, and I'm also an empath. So sometimes universally, collectively, I will feel the
yeah,
heaviness, you
yeah.
know, and at the same time, it's like, I'm a woman who takes radical responsibility for myself. I'm always doing my best to live at cause in my life, knowing about the universal law of cause and effect. And so, regardless of whether or not that depression, that sadness, that whatever low vibrational frequency is happening inside of my being, regardless of whether it's my stuff or whether it's humanity's stuff, it's still my job to release. It's still my job to transmute, so that I can get back into the higher vibrational, energetic wave, the frequency, the timeline that I know I prefer. I
I
would
love
say I need to create in, but you know what? I've been developing discipline and really working through my lows, because I understand the
the
specific
reason also.
steps.
Yeah.
Yes, it's become so much more clear over time. Time always gives us hindsight, In hindsight, we develop clarity. And so yeah, I started working out and I started falling in love with fitness.
Mm,
And around that time, I had manifested this health and wellness, this vegan, botanically based health and wellness company into my life. It was in the network marketing space. And
yeah.
so that was my first introduction to business. And I started to use this company's skincare, and high-end European Swiss skincare. My skin started to glow. I was like, wow. It wasn't until 6 months into using this product line that I opened myself up to recognizing this company has a nutrition line as well. Why
That
aren't you using the Fasana? Like, try the protein, right? Try the supplements that they offer, because my entire team and my mentors, they were all drinking these protein shakes. And because of the belief that I had developed years ago that I'm never going to be in a fit body, I'm never going to be
mm,
sexy, I'm never going to be confident in my skin, those beliefs that I had developed and that I had started to identify as my truth.
where like acting is the
But
behavior. Yeah.
yeah, I was resistant. I was resistant to it. Guess what happened?
What happened? I was just so curious right here.
6 months later, after I started to sell for this company and became an independent consultant, this was at 19 years old, by the way.
Yeah.
I tried the 30-day fit plan.
Okay.
And 6 weeks after taking the products, I released 22 pounds.
Oh my God. What? That
I
is so
went from I went from wearing large clothes to small clothes for the first time in my life. This was at 21 years old. So
mm,
I was like, huh,
this works. I'm
I guess
off.
I didn't know what I didn't know. Okay. So yeah,
Mm,
that was the catalyst was a breakup. And I think this is such a good segue to shift into the book that I just wrote. I wrote a book in 3 days, sis. I barricaded myself
Oh
in
my,
my
3
apartment
days.
and I just went in and I was like, this is getting done. Yeah.
How do you did it? I mean, like, wow, 3 days? And I'm curious about the title, Purpose Before Partnership. If you can go a
Mm.
little bit deeper.
Mm. I feel like women like ourselves, we love love.
Oh yeah, we are lovers. That's
We're
it.
lover girls, we just want to be authentically received and receive as deeply as we pour into other people,
Yeah.
And over my journey,
Yeah.
it's almost like I've had this knowing of who I am as my higher self.
Mm,
She's an author, she's a life coach, she's a speaker, she's a passionate, multi-dimensional entrepreneur. She's authentic as fuck, like
yeah.
she gets paid to show up and just be herself. Like I just get paid to be me.
To be
Like
me.
that's been, like big
Oh,
manifestor
oh,
energy.
I love that energy that you're bringing right now. It's just like, you know what? It is that I think that is one of the main characteristics when you mentioned before we transition to the book, you mentioned like when I open myself. So for us, it's just being open and we manifest right away. I mean, I will say we manifest the people, situations, circumstances, but the key here is to be open, just to like, okay, I'm gonna allow myself to just explore. And when we do that, it's like, wow, holy, and we attract everything. But
Exactly. That part. It's the truth. And this is why in my coaching practice, I talk a lot about really learning the truth around adopting your higher self's mindset. And there are a lot of spiritual principles that are woven into this conversation
mm,
versus operating from your ego. Now, most spiritual teachers will talk about ego as, something bad or fuck the ego, or I don't do that. We
okay,
are spiritual beings having a human experience.
that's it. Yeah.
Ego, right? Ego
Yeah.
is a part of the human experience. The only thing that ego can do in terms of self-sabotage is when you're operating. So when your thoughts are sourcing from your ego and
Mm,
causing you to self-sabotage on your path of self-actualization, that's when you need to check your ego, or that's when you'll probably manifest someone like me into your life, right? And I'm going to be like, oh, okay, well, have you tried doing it this way? And
yeah.
it's like, oh, it's the same situation as with me and this 30-day fit plan. Had I tested the fit plan 6 months prior, maybe the breakup wouldn't have happened. Maybe I would have loved myself and I would have allowed him to appreciate me while appreciating myself deeper,
Mm,
and I've always had a high level of self-worth. It's just that as a woman, you know, any women listening to this, I'm sure will understand, like, as beautiful as people tell us that we are, we need to feel that about ourselves.
Yeah.
And when we don't, there's a whole battle that happens and there's a lot of internal conflict that goes on inside of us, right? And we're kind of like, okay, right? But anyways, ego, unconscious ego. It's like every new level has a new devil. And so I've just realized, like, as I've been growing and evolving, healing and expanding throughout my path, every new level, it's almost, I've gotten so good at understanding this conversation. I can feel it in my being. I can feel it inside of me when I get to a higher level, a higher frequency, a higher vibration. And you know what I do? I I stay calm, I stay still, and I look around expecting, okay, I wonder what's going to try to test me and knock me off my horse this round.
Oh, if I love this. I love this that you're touching base on this, because when we ask for something, or when we, like you said, we arrive, or we feel energetically that we are in a new level, shit happen. Duality comes. Like, it's inevitable. Like, we're not only attracting who we are being, but we're also attracting the things that we are not.
Yeah.
And right there we have the opportunity to choose. And that is when things could may feel, like you said, like something is maybe chaotic, or something comes to almost challenge you. I don't know if that is a word or not, but it's just to allow you to make a choice, to decide, and to reaffirm your new frequency, your new state, I will say. But
Yeah.
sometimes we don't understand this, and thank you so much for bring it out. We go back to the same thing, or we think like this is not working. I asked for something, and especially here in business, let's say we ask for new clients, high quality clients, and they come, or we ask for them, and the clients that we have, they're not renewing anymore, like, or they're whatever, you know what I mean? Sometimes, and we have to be neutral in this state, and just be aware of what's going on, and most of all the internal talking as well,
100%.
right?
100%. There's so much of the surrender that's necessary, especially as high performing and elite women like ourselves. We hold ourselves to such a high standard. And I know you and I speak about this, you know, as manifestors, we're not designed energetically. It's out of alignment for us to be hustling and grinding 24/7. If we're
Mm-mm.
not operating from a creative urge, we're supposed to honor ourselves by resting until the next urge comes through. And then we take action, especially when it's aligned. And the universe literally like provides us with whatever it is that we're looking for, that we're asking for, that we need to support us in our process of self-actualization and becoming that embodiment of our higher selves. And, you know, I almost have had this knowing inside of me that I wasn't going to find true love in relationships with my person until I became this version of myself, the published author,
Oh
the
God.
boss bitch, the one who, you know, lives life on her terms, this divine feminine CEO, right? Who does manifest quite intentionally, powerfully. Like, from the type of men that I attract into my life to the type of clients that I attract into my life, it's uncanny how if I were to show you the lists of the specifics that I'm looking for, because I know me, I know my soul, I know what my nervous system needs, I know what strokes my ego in a healthy way. I know all of these things about myself based on the self-mastery that I've developed in the last 15 years. And so when people show up, there's a saying in personal development, it says something like, you know, if it's not a full body yes, then it's a fuck no,
No, yeah. I use
right?
that as well. Yeah.
Love that.
It's
Love
fucking that.
that.
It's not like a medium. I'm gonna try it. Like, I'm not a try. I'm not a maybe. Fucking yes. I'm not fucking no. That's it.
Right. Right. Like
A
it's
maybe, right? It's like, what are you talking about? Being a maybe? Like, no, it's
like
not.
you guys are acting like you're talking to two women who came here to experience a mediocre life or settle. Like you're talking that we're the wrong ones. Like that's not, we didn't come here for that. We came here to thrive in every aspect of our life and create heaven on earth so we can invite you into this vortex, into this temple, into this exquisite energy that is so magnetic and just addictive and beautiful and divine and erotic and all the things
Yeah.
that you know, as women, we were always told we can't be, or we can't do, or we can't have. And yet you have women like the two of us who are showing up in this world, and we are the prototypes, you know, like we live this life in real life. Like, this is not just a podcast conversation where we came on and scripted this conversation. Like, this is an authentic, transparent, this is what I live for. You know what I mean? There,
Yeah,
guys, if
yeah.
you're watching this, please know 2 minutes before this goddess hit record, I was like, okay, so what's the intention for the podcast? Like, what do you want to center it around? And she's like, talk about your overweight. There's no scripting here, right? Because we're so,
The scripting.
we're so real, and we are fully expressed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want to listen to something that is just so beautiful scripted and it's just like this is not a thing. You want to see you will see what is behind the scenes and from a really raw and amazing empowered prospect, right? It's like I would love for you, Fasana, if you can mention just really quick because I think I didn't ask you this when you came across that company that were offer like skin products and also the supplements. You said something that caught my attention. You said right there I was introduced for the first time into a business. So
Yeah.
from there, how you what was the first? Well, that was your first encounter, right, to the business. But when you decide to, you know what, I'm turning everything that I'm living, I'm embody, I went through into gold, like into a business to get
Mm,
paid. You know what? Like fuck yeah.
that's a good question. So I was building that business for about 5 years. I invested tens of thousands of dollars that I didn't have. You know, I had a credit card with a very high limit, and I invested so much money into buying products, into supporting myself, supporting my team, paying for conferences. You know, when you run a business,
It's a lot, you know, like it's not just one thing. If before you can just proceed here, I would love to highlight this because people see like, oh yeah, we have a business, whatever.
yeah,
Let me tell you, it's not coming, and I did a post about this, and I would like just to highlight because you put it really amazing. We're not coming from a $10,000 program, $1,000, $5 bullshit. I'm sorry. I mean, we did a lot of. I'm gonna use the word sacrifice, but sacrifice is just um changing something for the low frequency to of something of high frequency. Loans, credit cards, delaying shit for years, like it's a lot. And I'm not saying this to brag or to put Fasana and like, but she's bragging. We said this because we put skin in the game. And if you come to us, like you're gonna receive, like you said, amazing energy, amazing tools, but you don't gonna expect to receive a treatment of the Louis Vuitton, we are, or Hermes, to receive to pay us as a Walmart customer. And I'm sorry, I mean I love Walmart, right? But you know what? It's I would love to, I would love for you to go a little bit deeper, like because
yes,
the
of
investment
course.
is fucking huge, and
You're,
you're
you
not paying.
are, you're eliciting my fire, my inner fire, my dragon energy. I'm like, yes, this
Yeah.
this is something I've been speaking about recently because, you know, I think I'm gonna write a book. I've actually decided. It's already brewing, you know, it's gonna
Ready to
probably,
just like coming here.
I want to write a book about this industry and the real ones versus the ones who are great at marketing and things like that, you know. But I was speaking to a friend the other day, and he asked me, like, how did you become this way? Like, tell me about you. I said, well, I'll start off by saying I've invested $250,000 into myself in this last like 10 years alone. You know, when people, this is such a powerful conversation. Oh my gosh, I feel like we could speak about this for
For
days.
14 days.
So, from a professional standpoint, when you're looking to hire a life coach or a mentor, make sure that that person has qualities that they embody in front of the camera as well as behind the scenes, that you're clear on specifically what it is you know will help you become the most authentic, fully expressed version of yourself.
Yeah,
Girl, I don't know what's going on. These helicopters are crazy. Can you hear the helicopters, or it's just me?
I think it's just you.
Okay, I'll stop talking about it. It's just trying to distract me over here. I'm like, where is this coming from? We never get this ever. So
What
anyways,
is that? Like, the energy is fucking like the
I was like,
bottom.
we're doing something. There's something happening. We're shifting the world through this one conversation. Of course, we knew that already.
We know
So
that.
this industry, every time I manifested a powerful being who was better than me in a certain area, who was more experienced than I was, who knew more, who was more embodied. Guys,
Mm,
what the word embodiment means, it's one thing to say, oh, you know what? I know if I eat whole foods, drink a lot of water, take good supplements, sleep, between 8 to 10 hours a night and hit the gym 3 to 5 times a week, I know my body will change and I'll get fit. It's one thing to know that, but it's another thing to practice it as a part of your lifestyle on a consistent basis.
yeah.
Second definition is the embodiment of the knowing. There's two types of knowing: intellectually knowing and experiential knowing,
Yeah.
right? So this is it, I just went on this rampage of, okay, I get it. My life purpose is to become the best version of myself. And I started this journey around the age of 21. And business that I had attracted taught me a lot. But after being it for several years, I was like wondering to myself, why the fuck am I not at the highest level of the company? Like, I know that I'm one of one. I know that I'm one.
Part of
What is going on here? Because I wasn't, I was spending money, I was investing it into my business, into myself, continually fourth or fifth year. I the experience of being poured into by a life coach who was a friend of my national vice president at the time.
Mm,
Was always so masculine and powerful and in charge, in control, strong, had it all together, take care of myself. Hearing her conversation really, really enlightened me, and it illuminated something that I had no idea about in my life for myself. And so she started talking about the characteristics of the masculine and the feminine. I was 24 years old.
yeah.
And did I was not 19, or I don't know. My timelines are a little bit, I've done too much timeline therapy. I don't know. But after a few years, like building this business and putting my all into it, and I developed this mindset, like, I'm never going to quit on this business. Quitting on this business is going to be quitting on me. I'm never going to quit on me. I'm always going to put the work. And what ended up happening was, hearing her speak, she was offering us a special rate to
What was that?
become one-on-one clients. And
Yeah.
I did not have the money to invest. She was charging $2,500. I did not have the money. I didn't have it on my credit card. I didn't have it in my savings. I was working in corporate at the time, plus building my business on the side. And I was living paycheck to paycheck.
Mm.
But a voice inside of me, this voice was like a voice I had never heard in my life before. And the voice said to me, you need to figure this out, because this woman is going to take you to a level you can't get to on your own. And
Oh,
I
God.
was like,
Shit.
oh, I was like, okay. So when you have a will, there is always a way. Where there is a will, there will always be a way. A way will form out of nothingness,
Yeah.
right? You are so powerful. You being me, being you, all we have to do is make a decision, and the universe will literally open itself up for us and provide the abundance, the resources, the relationships, the opportunities, the connections, the money that we need to actually invest into our purpose, our mindset, which is our legacy, because it's not about the end destination of
Oh,
what
who we're,
happens when we die. It's about who we become in the process.
yeah,
Journey, right?
it's so huge. That is so huge. And I love the fact that you said one of the things, like, uh when we hire a mentor or coach, you name it, just look for that specific thing that you know that is going to activate you. she don't have to have all that perfection, but she's embodying that thing, like in fitness and business. Go and commit yourself just to go and learn that specific thing and to incorporate the knowledge, whatever teaching, right? But don't go because you will need her or because she has a beautiful like a marketing strategy, but when it comes to just be with her, don't get attracted just for the what she said. Get attracted because the things that she embodied, the things that she put in her life work, how she shows, and it doesn't have she doesn't have to show up or he in a perfect way, but in the way that you know that you can feel. That is a feeling, I think, that every single time that we invest is just a feeling as well. And you have to believe
100%.
in yourself.
And believing in yourself is going to take time, because you're going to need to take action. You're going to need to get out there. You're going to need to fail forward, because if you don't experience the lows, the negative failures, the pain, the struggle, right? The trials, the tribulations, how will you know what heaven on earth feels like? How will you know what the opposite feels like? You won't know. You won't know what's possible until you experience both sides of the spectrum, right? The law of polarity. And, when it comes to, if you're thinking about working with a life coach, be open to holding your inner child. Hold space for all parts of yourself. Don't know what you don't know. And so I say this because my clients are powerhouse women. Okay. Like I'm talking like women CEOs, visionaries, global thought leaders, women who are basically older versions of me. They came here, they know they're here for a higher purpose that's bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
And they're willing to do what it fucking takes to change the world, because that they know that's why God put them here. And most of the time, they're learning more about themselves and their spiritual sides. And so they're likely going through some sort of like secret closet depression or a dark night of the soul, tower moment. I find myself teaching a lot of professional women, corporate women, CEO women, like what dark night of the souls are, because they don't understand why they feel so low, so depressed, so anxious.
If they have all supposed to be like
They've done everything wrong.
right.
Yeah. Why aren't I further along at this point? I've put so much work in, like, am I ever going to see the fruits of my labor type conversations, right? And so ask questions. Going back to what we spoke about earlier, when my clients ask me specific questions, it helps me really become a lot more intimate with their consciousness so that I can give them a very wholesome, holistic spectrum of ideas. Because I'm a manifester. I mean, hey, we are manifestors. When you ask somebody like us for something, we're going to give you ideas that are going to mind fuck you so good. Like it's going to blow your mind,
That
because
is,
you probably never thought this before for yourself,
yeah.
you know? So ask us questions, pick our brains. If you're in a container of mine, leverage me. I tell my clients all the time, whether it's Voxer, whether it's WhatsApp, whatever medium we're using, feel free to voice note me, ask me whatever. I'm asking for grace. Give me a 24-hour window. I'm pretty good when it comes to, I have a very, very tight knit. I become my client's like soul sister. And it's like, it's that ride or die energy that I have, that I've always had since I was a child, where it's like, if you need me and you're asking me for help, so long as my cup is overflowing and I've done my morning routine, I've taken care of myself, I've eaten healthy, I'm drinking my water, I've worked out, I've attacked my business list of things to do for the day, I've made sure everything is good in my world, I'm overflowing, right?
Yeah.
My cup runneth over.
Oh
So
God.
I'm able to eat to my clients. And I only take on 2 clients a month. I'm not the type of life coach where I'm scaling my business to $1 million. I recently just stepped into acknowledging the fact that I'm an artist. I'm a singer. I want to make music now. I want to start to, explore the celebrity side of life in the world. And I mean, I'm not going to be surprised. Like, don't be surprised if you see me in 5 years and I'm a celebrity life coach. I mean,
I
it's
love
kind of
that.
part of the big
You know
picture.
what? Yeah, it is done. If you decide it is just done, it is done. And I think as a manifestor, it's like when we follow what feels really, really like the urge, the next thing that is coming through us is when, like you said, we're not only manifesting really fast, but things are just so aligned and so beautiful, and we're not meant to be 24/7. And I think boundaries for us are really important. You mentioned I'm doing my morning routine, I'm taking care of myself, my physical, my spiritual, you name it. I go first, and then I can give you something. And having those strong
Boundaries.
boundaries are really important because, and I'm just not going to elevate more ourselves more, but as a manifestor, you have a direct impact on people. Like people's like they're craving once people enter into our world, it's like I want to know more. And if we don't put a strong boundary, it's like we can get depleted, and then the anger, the outer alignment me can come and just like you don't want to see that, right? So
Absolutely. You know, my ideal clients are typically women who don't realize that they're self-sacrificing by having a lack of healthy boundaries. They're always taking care of everyone else, especially as women of Indian women, when it comes to myself and my background, it's like that's what I was taught to do, right?
mm,
My mom is the eldest, excuse me, the eldest girl in her family. And so she was given this very maternal role in her life as a child, always taking care of everybody, making sure everybody had food on the dinner table. And then she would serve herself last. Most of the time, she wouldn't even eat with the family. I saw this growing up with my sister and I our whole lives. She
yeah,
wouldn't eat. She would just be, you know, because we're cooking, sometimes we're taste testing and we're eating and we kind of get full, you know? But she would never, and this was something I brought to her awareness in my teenage years. I'm like, Mom, come sit with us. I know you already ate. I know you're probably full, but come sit with us, enjoy, let's talk. She
yeah,
would never, it was not in her subconscious programming to actually join us at the table so that we can be in this community together and commune and have dinner and speak and reflect on our day and whatever the case is.
yeah.
So many women, and this is why I wrote this freaking book, because so many of us are so subconsciously programmed to put everybody and their mothers first.
Oh yeah.
And it's something that prevents us from actually creating the time and the space in our own lives to explore the universe within ourselves and to develop the skill sets, the self-mastery, and the clarity of what our higher purpose is in this world today. So
Mm,
it's like in every situation, a woman will come to me, even men too. Men, when I deal with conscious men and they understand how to surrender their ego, leave the ego at the door, okay? Because if you don't, it's going to get triggered around me. I'll tell you that much,
yeah,
right?
I no.
Pick my brain. What is it that you're looking for? And if you're open to it, you know, I do a combination of like coaching as well as consulting in my
Mm,
practice because a lot of the times I'm seeing the blind spots of my clients. I'm seeing the gaps in their consciousness. I already know their soul. I know what the soul wants. The soul wants to live more of a soft life. The soul wants to have more of a regulated nervous system. The soul wants to work smarter versus harder,
yeah.
right? The soul wants to enjoy this experience of life, not hustle and grind and be overworked and overwhelmed and exhausted and overthink all the time,
Yeah.
constant burnout,
Mm,
adrenal fatigue. Like there's so many different issues from a health perspective that so many of us, especially as women CEOs and entrepreneurs and women in corporate go through. And it's like, if you're a woman, I'm just channeling this, so I want to give this to everyone who's watching this. It's like if you're a woman who's been working in your career for the last 10 years, and all of a sudden recently you've woken up and you're like, what did I do? I thought that at this level, you know, you've elevated yourself and you've promoted yourself to a higher status within the company, within the corporation. And it's like, I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. What the fuck? What gives? I thought I was supposed to feel a certain way by now. And so this is why I'm so passionate about really helping women understand themselves as feminine beings.
mm,
Because if we don't take this conversation seriously, we're going to be paying for it from a mental, emotional, and physical health perspective in the future. This is one of the reasons why I'm so passionate. I'm obsessed with talking about holistic and preventative living. And
mm,
my journey started back in my early 20s when I quit my corporate job I quit my side business, the holistic, health and wellness side business. And I had worked with my first life coach, and she planted a seed in my mind and in my heart. And she said, Fasana, she goes, have you ever thought of being a life coach? And I was like, no, I need a life coach. What are you talking about right now? No, what do you mean? And she goes, you know, you have like wisdom that most of my 50 and 60-year-old clients are carrying. You could help a lot of people. And I know how much you love to help people. You should consider becoming a life coach. In fact, my mentor is running a program. Do you want the details? I can send them to you. Girl, I saw those details and I was like, divine living.
I'm
Yes,
going.
please. And I burnt all bridges. I quit my corporate job. I retired myself from that business that wasn't working for me. That was heartbreaking to leave my people behind because I'm not the type of person to ever want to leave people I love. At least I wasn't before until I
Yeah.
realized, you know what? It's not my job to carry other people's weight. It's their job to carry their stuff. It's my job to carry mine, to release what's no longer serving me, and to continue moving forward on my path so that I'm actually in a position where I can truly serve the people that I love the most on a long-term continual basis.
That sounds so good and so deep because many of us we think that we either this could happen even for clients or friends that uh, that doesn't mean that we abandon them or we think they're better than them, but we don't have to carry other people uh, into our next evolution to the next level because if we try to do that, we're gonna hold ourselves back, and it's just like. And I love that the way that you put it, like if I want to really help them, if I want to be in a greater service for my family, for my clients, I need to do this.
Yeah.
And don't feel guilty or like, oh, I'm guilty or what are they gonna do without me? No, you see them in their highest expression, like they're resourceful. They wanna find a way, like I'm doing it. So when we see ourselves that way and we see people that way, there's no longer attachment, there's no longer guiltiness, there's no longer nothing, right?
You know what? I've been doing this work for 8 years now. And the truth is that the two things that I wish somebody had told me when I first got started, because, I realized these things early on in my journey when it came to like becoming a life coach and a spiritual teacher, helping people understand the universe, life, themselves, their mind, how it works, all these things. It's like, I never thought that it would have taken me 8 years to truly believe in myself as
Mhm.
deeply and as highly and as truly as I do in this moment right here and right now. And I know you can feel that energy from me.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
energetic beings. Like we
It's so clean, it's so powerful. It's no with filter. It's not like what I need to sound it this way or that way. No, it's just a beautiful balance between being strong and being soft. And I can tell that even in the whole interview here, you were like from going from talking about the experiences from the past, you were really empowered, and then I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this and that. So you talk really from an embody. Uh, you talk from this space where I feel that you're embodied. I feel your energy. It's not coming from a place of like just trying so hard or like no. You allow yourself just to put it out.
integrity is very high on my list of values. And, as a manifester, you know this better than most, right? Nobody really understands why I am the way I am, why I move the way I move, why I think the way that I do. And
Mm.
so I think that as a manifester, and if you are a woman who's also a manifester and you want to be a part of a mastermind, reach out to us because we might be able to help you with some stuff. Just saying. The most powerful, powerful, powerful thing that I've done in these last 7 years was dive into the ocean of consciousness surrounding feminine and divine feminine energy.
Mm.
Because the biggest, and I don't know if you saw my state change when you said what you just said, and thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you for that. That's the biggest compliment I could ever receive from anybody, especially somebody as powerful as you. When it's like she's feminine, but she's also powerful. And as a manifester, it's like manifesting, our strategy is to initiate. It is
Mhm.
to invite people into our worlds. And it's like, listen, we cook in a hot kitchen, but hey, if you can handle the heat, stick around, you'll get some good food. You know what I mean? Like it's not for everyone because
Oh yeah, of course. Let me tell you, like, there are people that get trigger, repel, or what does she think she is, and all that to get stuff. And I'm just gonna share real quick something, because when I was trying to express like how your embodiment and your energy, I was like thinking about all these words because my English is my second language. That was one of the parts that I used to stop me even to do the podcast, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go for it, and the people that are gonna resonate are gonna resonate, and the people that don't, sorry. Next, I mean, I have
100%.
to sell myself that, but yeah, it is so true. Either we repel people or we attract them, and that is so okay. It's just like our natural aura, so might as well embrace it, right?
Telling you before we recorded, I'm so proud of you for doing this podcast because like what you're sharing in your story right now, like listen, all of us as humans deal with fear.
Yeah.
It's part of the human experience. And I'm grateful for back in the day when I first got started in this work, one of the biggest like concepts that I really, really fell in love with was faith over fear. You got to choose your faith over fear. I
Yeah.
have because I was scared of so much. I was so scared and I was frightened. And for the first few years of me diving into personal growth and the personal development industry, I found this industry at 19 years old.
Mm,
So yeah, I must have been 19 when I started that business because that's how I learned about personal development. I started in network marketing,
yeah.
which over the years, I've been a part of many of those companies, and God bless the companies because they're helping a lot of people. For me, completely misaligned for my energy type, and
Mm,
I'm clear on that. I will never bash anybody for doing anything and investing into themselves and their consciousness. And I also always love to remind people that you've got to focus on your personal alignment
yeah.
because sometimes what works for others isn't meant to work for you. And sometimes you're meant to invest years and tens of thousands of dollars into something and then fail and not get to the top level that you thought you were going to get to. Because had it not been for my journey there, I wouldn't have found myself in personal development, nor would I have met my first life coach who completely changed my life. If it wasn't for that woman, I wouldn't be who I am today. I
That.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
So
Yes. I
we
did.
fear really fucks us up a lot, especially when we're not conscious of our subconscious filters and our subconscious paradigms. Because I can't tell you how many times in hindsight I'm like, I was being held back by my own fear and I didn't even realize it. I didn't even recognize it. And so that's why working with a mentor, working with a life coach, like we're here to help you collapse timeframes. Because if you do this on your own, it's going to take you between 5 to 10 years. I'm keeping it real. I will always do that. If you work with someone like ourselves, it's between 6 to, I don't know, 18 months, you can achieve the same results and become your higher self in such a shorter, that's what I mean when I say collapse timeframes. You
Yeah.
know, you didn't come here to play small. You didn't come here to beat to the rhythm of someone else's drum. You didn't come here to
Oh my gosh.
follow rules that don't serve you or humanity or Mother Earth, right? Or God. You didn't come here to do that and be a slave and a prisoner in a world that doesn't actually serve your highest good. You came here to recreate reality according to what works. So find out who you are and find out what works for you so that you can, take your power back.
Yeah. Oh my God. That was like, that was huge. That was really impactful. That was really full of energy of this magnificent manifestor energy. And it is what it is. Like you mentioned, really, really clear and direct. If you, when you hire a coach, mentor, you name it, someone, it's gonna help you to collapse time. Like all the experiences, the wisdom, the things that didn't work for us, all the things that we know. And we're not coming from like a place of like, I know everything. No, of course not. But even if that person is 10 steps ahead, 5 steps ahead, those 5 steps can help you just to move faster. And that is the thing, right?
100%. And one thing that I learned early on, um, if you're listening to us speak about this conversation and you have this urge inside of you where maybe you heard me speak, maybe you heard someone speak, or a program came into your life and you want to invest into yourself, but your mind is telling you, logically speaking, that's not a good idea. No, we don't have the savings for that. No, that's going to put us in debt.
Mm,
Listen, time is the only non-renewable resource that each of us have.
yeah.
Time is the only non-renewable resource. Money is a renewable resource. We can always make more of the money, but we'll never get the time back,
Mm,
ever. So when I heard that, when I learned that years ago, that shifted me. That's it shifted me in the most beautiful of ways, because I started realizing how to manifest money, finances. It came in so many different shapes and forms. And I've never really been the type of child, teenager, or young adult. I guess I'm still a young adult, but you know what I mean. In the past,
yeah, we're teenagers, right?
yeah, we're still young adults.
Right.
In the past, I never liked to ask for help. That was
Mm,
my healthy masculine energy, right? I never wanted to ask for help. I could do it on my own. I got this. I'm solid. I got me. I thought that it was a sign of weakness. And
mm,
the truth is that the abundance and the financial abundance that came into my life to bless me, that allowed me to continuously invest into myself so I could become this woman today who serves humanity in her highest timeline on a continual long-term basis. The money came in different forms. Like the first time my first life coach, the story I shared with you, I called the bank. They never should have technically extended my credit limit because I was already maxed out. But
yeah,
guess what?
they
They gave
did.
me they gave me a $3,000 increase. I was able to work with her. Not only did I work with her for one 3-month period, I was so changed by the experience. I found another $2,500 and signed back up with her for the next 3 months. So I worked with her for 6 months total.
Mm,
I knew she had more for me, and I knew I was ready and open to receiving so much more. And
mm,
so loans from family, loans from friends, credit card, like we're so limited in our thinking based on how most of us were raised to
yeah,
think that being in debt makes us poor or
and it's
makes us
not, actually not.
like, we need to really, really reprogram our own wealth consciousness to understand what is the actual purpose of life and how can I play this game so I set myself up to win?
Yeah.
Because none of us came here to be hamsters that feel like we're trapped on a wheel where we're going into, let's just say, a job every day. God bless all of you who work 9 to 5, okay? If you work full time, my prayer for you is my prayer for you is that I hope that you love what you do. And if you don't, by the way, some of us have some tools. We can help you clean up some stuff so that you actually do love what you do. Because if you don't love what you do every day, think about what you're doing to yourself from a mental wellness perspective, from an emotional wellness perspective. You're not contributing or investing into your wellness. You're contributing to your illness.
Oh God, that is so profound. Can you remark it again?
Yeah. So it's like,
If you're not investing to yourself, you're investing into your illness.
right? It's like you get to choose what level you decide to empower yourself in this lifetime. So you get to choose whether or not you settle for working for someone else and building their dream.
Yeah.
And if you're hating what you do, my question to you is, well, why haven't you looked into starting a business? Why,
Mm,
why haven't you taken some time, maybe off of work, to self-reflect, identify what you're passionate about? Do you know how many people I've asked in this last week alone, my love, what are you passionate about in life? Because I want to learn their soul. I want to learn who they are. I also
yeah.
want to learn their level of self-awareness, right?
Yeah.
What are
And
you
what,
passionate about? And so many of them just look at me and they think,
I don't know.
no idea what they're passionate about.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to design your life
If
around
you,
your passions if you have no clarity around what your passions are? You can't.
yeah, yeah. And now you bring me an analogy about the elevator. Like You have to be clear on what you want or your passion or where you're going from, because you can enter into this beautiful luxury elevator with so many, like, I don't know, 60 buttons. If you remain there, like if you're not pushing one, someone is pushed that for you. And then you finish in the basement or in the, I don't know, 54th floor. And it's like, I didn't want to be here, but you didn't choose. That's it.
It's like you end up in the basement when
Yeah.
God has this whole penthouse with your name on it and you're not claiming it because you haven't learned how to take your power back. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And that is why women like Fasana and I, we can help you. And that but it's just, it's a personal choice, I will say, that it's a personal choice. You have to arrive to that place when it's something that you really desire and know that is your next step. As you may see, Fasana and I, we are really like, we are only working with women that are hell yes. Like, I have to emphasize that as well. Yeah.
100%. One of the things that I want to share is that I know how people feel about my energy. It's big, I'm very direct. I
Love
come
it.
very confident because I've learned to be, like when you learn how to create life from the power of your thinking and your mind, and out of nothing, you create things, tangibly speaking, and you become this professional manifester. Your confidence will increase, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just because we are manifestors, you can do this too. We can teach you how to really mold yourself and fine tune your vibration, your energy, your frequency, so that you can actually,
Mhm.
be the CEO of your life. And the other part of that is, we live in a very, very informationally overloaded world today.
Yeah.
And I speak to this point because many of us that are on this path of really, really grounding into our truth as spiritual beings, many of us, and I'm speaking for myself, we become very highly sensitive to energy.
Tell me about it. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And if you don't know how to navigate in this world as the CEO of your life, God is the founder, you're the CEO. Your decisions are going to dictate how the business unfolds and blossoms and grows. Your business being your life, your future, right? Your quality of life, what you experience in this world. And for me, the way I like to do this, because every single woman that comes to me realizes, okay, I think I have more work to do around healing my inner child.
Mm.
Or, you know what, I'm still suffering from these deep, deep abandonment issues and these wounds that I thought that would have gone away. I've spent 10 years, 20 years, 30 years trying to
Oh.
heal from. And I take a very, very trauma-informed approach, because something that really empowered me about 5 years ago was, instead of just pretending that I'm this Wonder Woman, I'm empowered, woohoo, like bigging myself up, I started accepting the fact that, you know what, maybe that event that happened to me in childhood
Mm.
actually did create this significant emotional event that maybe is still somewhat programmed within my subconscious, and I allowed myself to really expand into my human experience. And what would have disempowered me so much before having this awakening, this revolution for myself, would have been like, nobody can nobody's going to tell me that I'm operating from a place of childhood trauma. Like, in my head, the identity that I had associated with that. Do you think I'm some kind of weak bitch?
Mm.
Like, really? Like, do you know who you're talking to? That was my self-identity back then, where it's like 3 years into my business, I accepted the fact that I think I have some unresolved stuff around business, money,
Mm.
saving, investing. And it's just crazy because it took me like 5 years to really do the deep work and the healing, mainly because I didn't want to talk to anybody about any of this stuff.
Okay. Mm. But I do believe, like, when we look back and you said it took me 5 years, but I think sometimes that was required, and that's okay, because those 8 years set you up for the next, like, for from here now, like you having writing a beautiful book, uh, discovering this, or right, acknowledging this now gift, or like being an artist, like, like, I think it, whatever we must heal or work on is gonna take its own time, and whatever it takes, it's okay. And when we arrive to that place of feeling like grateful for that, even for that gift, there's so many people, 97% of the people are just going through life like in autopilot. Like we are really great. Like we are really
We are blessed. We are so incredibly blessed. And my gosh, like you said, like this, like the work we've done up to this point, it's not just going to set us up for this lifetime. It's going to set us up for every
every.
lifetime to come, if we're, meant to come back here. So
That's so true. Yeah. We decide, no, I'm not gonna play next time. I'm just later on. Okay.
yeah, right? Like, okay,
I think this is the power. I love this conversation. I think this is the power also, that having someone that speaks your language, that is not someone that is like just talk about just mindset or just energy or something. We're bringing all the package right here, and that is just so beautiful.
it's such a powerful conversation. And the last thing I want to touch on is I have lost myself in every relationship up till right now.
Mm,
I lost myself. I lost my higher self's identity because I just want to be in my feminine energy and just love my person, build our empire, like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like when I learned the biological differences between men and women,
Yeah.
we're built in different ways. Women don't have hormones like testosterone, for example, that replenish every single day. The
Mm.
9 to 5 work system wasn't designed to support a woman's
Okay.
health. It was designed for men.
Yeah.
Our energy, our hormones replenish themselves every 28 days based on our cycle.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's just so crazy because it's like, ladies, if you're listening to this and you're resonating with this and you just want to embrace your soft life, I call it the sacred life because I'm so submitted to God and his plan for my life. I'm
Mm.
just a vessel. I'm just here to continuously do the energy clearing work of myself, my mind, my body, honor my temple, strengthen my boundaries, get clearer on what I can do to live at cause, to produce the results I want to see in my life. And there are so many women. I'm thinking of creating a new program. I've
Yeah.
already been doing it unofficially, but I'm talking about to support wise women, goddess women who are starting to realize, you know what, life hasn't really been working in my favor for a long time. Maybe there's something that I'm not seeing. And
Mm.
ladies, I invite you to consider that gift that my first life coach gave me. If you feel like you are meant to do something like what we're doing, maybe become a life coach or a mentor for yourself, do it.
Yeah.
Do it because nobody has the wisdom that you have. Nobody has the experience, the skill sets, the strengths, the subjective understanding of what it takes to be you in this world. Nobody has that
Mm.
aside from you. You're the only one that could teach it the way that you're supposed to teach it.
Yeah.
Step into that power. If you need help, reach out. We got you. I
Yeah.
got you.
I love that. I love that. All right, Fasana, I would love to, and through this conversation, we went through a lot. This is just a personal conversation, but I would love to ask you, and I know you're like me, you're gonna be just really, really direct. I already know, but I would love to ask you directly, what is your superpower?
Oh,
That's it.
it's activating people to their
Activate.
most authentic, fully expressed, multi-dimensional selves. It's helping them connect to the God and the goddess, the divine masculine and the divine feminine within themselves, to
Mm,
become the most unapologetic versions of themselves and to create the positive change, influence, and impact that they came here to create in this world. That's my superpower.
that sounds so beautiful. It's so potent. Yeah, so confident. I usually ask this question at the final of each episode. Some of the guests that were just really, really fast. Some of them were like, let me think about it. Or like, but you were like, this isn't that like the banana split with the cherry on the top. Like, I'm ready. I got myself. Right. But I would love, before we'll finish our podcast, if you can share where we can find you. I'm gonna put the details either above or below of this video and also on the podcast description. But where we can find you. Many of for me usually it's Instagram, where for you it could be Instagram, Facebook, where we can find your book as well. I will love
Of
to.
course. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much for this conversation. This was the highlight of my entire week, sitting here talking to your beautiful self. This was just so, I feel reactivated. I feel re-energized now because thank you. Thank you for
No, you're
this.
fucking epic. You know, I think, yeah, I think we went
My
like
mirror. Of course I'm epic. Look who I'm talking to.
epic. So,
Oh gosh. Okay. So where can you find me? You can find me on Instagram at the Higher Self Coach.
okay.
You can find me on Facebook at Fasana Patel. You can find me on LinkedIn at Dr. Fasana Patel. And you can find me on OnlyFans at Fasanification. Oh, and of course, Amazon. You can find me on Amazon. Google Purpose Before Partnership, Dr. Fasana Patel. You'll find my book. My picture's on the cover. You can't miss it.
Oh my God, this woman, really, she's really complete. I love she's activating me right now as well. I'm just getting red on my face. This is so fun. Well, if you're watching the recording via YouTube, you're gonna see it. If you don't, you can tell for the energy. I'm getting flushed right here.
I'm flushed too. I'm so turned on right now. This is why don't people live a life that turns them on? Like, what's the point? It's possible. Look at us.
Oh my God, this is so fucking cute. Oh my God. Sorry, my from our friends right here, but it was just, oh God. Fasana, you're a gift. I love it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for coming. And this, you're magical. I'm telling you, I love it. All right, guys, I will see you next week. We will see you next week, and thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you in the next. Thank you.